Broadcasting from the Professional Fantasy Football League studios in Marina del Rey, California. I'm your host, John Hampton. This is PFFL Live.
A big hello to everyone and welcome to the flagship broadcast of PFFL Live. We're going to be previewing hot matchups each week around the PFFL so that you learn to know your enemy. This week, we're taking a peek at the big dogs in Tier 1, playing for that $2,000 first prize and bragging rights of being the most professional fantasy footballer around. Let's get started with the
Matchup of the week.
Daewoo Llanos versus Insanity Escape. Look for this one to be a high-scoring matchup with both of these teams possessing some serious firepower in their lineups. Daewoo has the Matt Ryan to Julio Jones connection, which should prove to be a huge asset this year, along with Darren Run DMC McFadden, who will be a beast if he stays healthy. For an insider perspective on this matchup, we're going to go to the phones and talk to Daewoo Llanos owner, Joseph Moline. Joe, what do you think? Can Darren McFadden stay healthy for an entire season?
I sure hope so. I drafted him for that reason. He's had some issues in the NFL so far, but I think he can pull it out. I mean, he was pretty healthy in college. His last couple of years at Arkansas, I don't even think he missed a game. His injuries in the NFL have all been like foot, hamstring, shoulder. Yeah, I think he had a groin issue. Nothing that's really, going to end his career or slow him down. I think he'll be okay. I mean, he's 6'2", 110 pounds. He runs a 4.3 or 4.40. I mean, guys are going to get hurt running that fast, being that big. I think this is the year, his fifth year of a 6-year deal, so it's time to break out and stay healthy and help me win a championship.
Certainly a force to be reckoned with. What about your boy, Matt Forte? Can Matt match Ahmad Bradshaw's 14 points in your second receiver slot?
Yeah, I would think so. A little upset to see that David Wilson put the ball on the ground early and gave Bradshaw the green light just to run all day. Forte, he's played well last year before he got hurt. I mean, I was looking up his stats against Indy, and I think he's only got the one career game, which is his first NFL start. But with PFFL scoring, I think it was something like he put up like 18 or 19 points. If he can do that against that weak defense again, I know it's 4 years later and he's off of surgery, it would help me out a lot. So I think he should do okay. Maybe a couple screen passes or something.
Joe, thank you for spending time with us. That was Joseph Moline, owner of Daewoo Llanos. Insanity Escape is suiting up Matt Stafford after a monster year last year, opening up against a weak St. Louis Rams. If he connects with Pettigrew, this will be a big game for Insanity. Also, keep an eye on Eric Decker, who seems to be Peyton Manning's new target of choice, along with Maurice Mighty Mouse Jones-Drew coming in on his flex after finally settling his contract dispute, but still not getting the start in week. Both these guys looking like playoff contenders in week 1, but I predict Daewoo is walking away with the win in this matchup. Next on the board, we have the Seattle Seahanks versus Mr. Miyagi's Dojo. Showing a complete lack of interest, the Seahanks were the only team that auto-drafted in Tier 1. Yet they still lucked out and got a great starting lineup. Look out! Hank is starting Arian Foster, Calvin Megatron Johnson, and Rob Gronkowski. Those three players in the same lineup would have any fantasy players shaking in his boots. Miyagi's Dojo will be relying on Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald to bring points and make up for his weakness at running back this week. Because Miyagi's QB, Tom, covered in Giselle Brady's top target, is on Hank's team, look for the team Seahanks to walk away victorious in this matchup. Also, we will get to see if Marshawn Beast Mode Lynch can start the year strong. Another matchup this week is Team Kizzle versus Teddy KGB. Team Kizzle, coming off a second-place finish this year, has some serious running backs with Jamal Charles, DeMarco Murray, and Steve Jackson. Kizzle better hope that Peyton Manning stays out of a wheelchair this season, as the slightest hit could change everything. Teddy KGB looks like a Packers enthusiast, with A-Raj, the most dangerous QB in football, his favorite target Greg Jennings, and Cedric Benson playing against a stiff 49er defense. I see Kizzle starting off 1-0 with his fierce running back trio and Peyton sealing the deal as long as the Niners can hold their defensive reputation. Our next matchup features last year's PFFL champ, Renton Raindogs versus Jurassic Pork. Rain Dogs came into the 2012 season toting both Drew Brees and LaShawn Shady McCoy. Shady, coming off a fantastic season, looks to lead the charge, and he has a great chance against the never very good Cleveland Browns. Jurassic Pork looks like the ghost of fantasy football's past, with veterans Adrian All-Day Peterson, Andre Johnson, and Antonio Gates, all in his starting lineup. Can these veterans prove they still have what it takes? I think not. I see Breeze hitting Jimmy Graham a couple times in the pay dirt, and this thing is a wrap. Point goes to the Rain Dogs. Next up, we have the Confused Octopi versus Illegal Touching. The Octopi have Ray Rice, a projected fantasy goldmine this year in a run-first offense. He is also sporting a nasty 3-wide receiver set with Jordy Nelson, Brandon Marshall, and Demarius Thomas, who could all see a lot of targets this year. Illegal Touching has a team worth noting. Vic at QB, Chris Johnson at running back, and Jimmy Graham at tight end. The way I see it, these guys are all boom-bust picks, but you gotta take risks to go big. With Illegal Touching's boom-bust team, I think Octopi will take the win, but only because it's week 1 and these picks may not heat up until later this season. Wrapping up this week's preview matchups, we have the Germaniacs versus Tier 1 Imports. Germaniacs already got a great start from Tony, Homo, Romo coming in hot out of the gate. He also has Fred Jackson in a tough matchup against the Jets, and token white guy on the NFL, Wes Welker. Tier 1 Imports is riding on Cam Newton's amazing year last year, taking both him and his favorite receiver, Steve Smith. Also, it will be interesting to see who he plays at running back with The Law Firm and Rashad Jennings both getting Week 1 NFL starts. Folks, I'm predicting another very close game here with Tier 1 squeaking out ahead. A lot of great matchups this week. We also have a brand new addition to the PFFL radio network. Let's go to the phones and talk to our very own Dave, the Fantasy Geek, about his new show.
The Fantasy Geek here. Coming up on the Go Pro Fantasy Show, we'll recap Week 1 action from Tier 1 of the PFFL, and I'll have all the news and names you need to know heading into Week 2. The show airs on Tuesday on the PFFL Radio Network. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Dave. Well, PFFL fans, that's it for your Week 1 previews. I'm John Hampton. Be sure to tune in this Thursday to PFFL Live for a look at news around the league and some relevant interviews. For more news, stats, podcasts, and smack talk, visit us at thepffl.com. That's the-pffl.com.
This has been a presentation of the PFFL.